welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlotte and I'm happy to have you here. So in my previous video, my July TBR, I talked about some of the books I would like to get to if I were to participate in the reading rush. The reading rush actually starts on Monday and I have decided to participate, so I'm here to just clarify my TBR and talk about what books I'm planning to read next week. The reading rush is hosted by Ariel and Raylene, and I will share their links and the announcement for the reading rush down below so that you can keep up with it. I personally really like readathons because they encourage me to read a lot and they encourage me to read a wide variety of books, because the challenges might not fit all of the books that I own, or they might not only fit for fantasy books, which is usually my preference when it comes to books. So I think it's truly great just for me to get a wide range of books. The reading rush I believe had 7 prompts in total, or something like that. I will mainly focus on 4 of them. I know that I won't be able to read 7 books in a week, especially since I will also work and have other engagements to participate in next week. My goal is 4 books and we'll have to see how I do with that. The first book, of course, that I will be reading is the group book, which is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. And I can already say that I will also count this to the challenge of reading a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. My birthstone is sapphire, I believe, so I needed a blue cover and this book has a blue cover, so it works perfectly for that. I've actually already bought the book as an ebook as well, so I'm just ready to get to it. I don't know much about the book, but from what I can gather, basically from the Goodreads description, it's about a black woman who is a babysitter who is one day asked to look after a white woman's baby. So she takes this toddler to the grocery store or something and is suddenly accused of having kidnapped this child. Things basically play out from there. I'm quite interested. We'll have to see what I think about it, I guess. The next prompt is to read a book with "the" in the title. And for this I've chosen The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. For those of you that don't know, this was recently released in May, I believe, and it's the prequel to the Hunger Games books. So in this book we follow President Snow. This takes place during the 10th Hunger Games. And I'm really excited about it actually. I know that people on BookTube and in general are quite divided and split about this book. Many don't like it. I haven't been spoiled. I have no idea what's going to happen in this one. But I do know that people all feel quite different about this one. Now this one is quite thick as well, it's 500 pages or more. But the thing I want to focus on this reading rush is actually getting to those books that I've been meaning to read. I don't want to use this readathon as an excuse to buy more books. I want to focus on what I already own and can physically access, or that I can access via my library or in other ways. So that's why I will be reading this one, though it might take a bit longer and is perhaps not an optimal book for a readathon. Then we have to read a book that inspired a movie that you have seen. About 7 years ago, I think, or something like that, a little movie named Life of Pi came out. I don't actually remember which year, but let's say something like that. I remember watching that movie at the cinema. I really enjoyed it, so I've decided to read a book as well. It's Life of Pi by John Martel. I think I got this as a birthday gift from some of my friends, I think 7 years ago or something like that. So I've had this on my bookshelf for quite a while and I haven't gotten to it. And it's not one of those books that I've been eager to pick up. There's always something else, a fantasy or a non-fiction or something I'm more interested in. But for this prompt I only had this book to to read, so I will finally get to this one. And this is what I'm saying, that readathons help me read a better variety of books and get to books that I've been meaning to get to but have never prioritized. From what I remember from this movie is that we're following a boy and a tiger on a raft or some sort of boat. And that's about that. And then when I remembered that part, I realized that there won't probably be that much dialogue in this book, so maybe it will be a slow read. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. But at least it's not too long, I think. It's about 300 pages. So that's fine. So I'm happy that I will finally get to this book. but we'll just have to wait for the wrap-up to see what I actually think of it. Next challenge is to read a book belonging to a genre that you wanted to read more of. For this I will be reading Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I bought this about a month ago and I'm honestly so excited about this one. It's a science fiction book and I usually go for fantasy and I want to read more science fiction, so that's why I'm picking this book. What's really cool about this as well is that it's mixed media. So the story is told through emails, documents, random pages, files, all that stuff. So I'm really excited about that part. The story is, from what I know, basically about, I think they're in space. There's a couple that has broken up and they're in space, and something's starting to happen on their fleet and the fleet's AI is freaking out. Things like that. I know that it's sci-fi, I know that it's in space, and I know it's YA. I'm so excited about this one. This will be my first read for the readathon. This is the first book I will start reading on Monday. I've just been hearing so much about this one and this series in general, and I really want to get more into sci-fi. So I'm super duper excited about this one. It's just so cool. So yeah. And those are basically the main 4 books that I want to focus on. There are a couple of other prompts that I won't really care about. One of them is reading a book outside. Although I live in Sweden, I can easily go outside. We don't have a lockdown currently. I just want to be able to read a book whenever and wherever I like. So it's not something I will really care about. Another one of the prompts is to read a book that takes place outside of your own continent. Living in Sweden, being in Europe, that's not too difficult. I guess most of these take place outside of Europe, and Such a Fun Age is, I guess it plays out in the US. But then we had read the first book that you touch. I didn't take this challenge too seriously, but it kept bothering me. I kept thinking, okay, what can I do to actually... How can I do this challenge? How do I figure out which book I would first touch? The way I decided to approach this is that I went on my Scribd account. Scribd is a digital library where you can access tons of different audiobooks and ebooks. I recently got an account there. I have 2 months for no charge. It's free. Hello everyone, Editing Charlotte here. So what I forgot to mention is that you can also get 2 months for free on Scribd if you use the link down below. And if you use that link, you will also be helping me out because I get another month for free. So it's a win-win, right? Yeah, just wanted to mention that. Back to the video. I went to my saved page on Scribd, so different books and titles that I'm interested in, that I would perhaps like to check out in the future. I closed my eyes and I started scrolling back and forth, every direction possible I guess, but it's only possible up and down. And then I stopped scrolling, I put down my finger on the screen and I opened my eyes. And my finger landed on Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not too sure how to feel about this, because I recently read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo and I loved that one. And I'm super excited about continuing with Crooked Kingdom. But the thing is, Shadow and Bone was actually published before Six of Crows. And from what I've heard, most people prefer the Six of Crows duology compared to Shadow and Bone. I hadn't really planned on reading Shadow and Bone, even though I really enjoy the other book by Leigh Bardugo. But what I have heard is that the Shadow and Bone trilogy actually does a lot of world building. I mentioned in my June wrap-up that the magic system and the Grishaverse in Six of Crows can be a bit confusing, especially if you haven't read any other books by Leigh Bardugo. From what I've heard, at least in Shadow and Bone, a lot of that magical element and that world is so much more described in there, and you get a better knowledge of the world. So for that reason, I'm actually quite excited about reading Shadow and Bone. The actual plot of the book, I think it's about a girl who starts showing magical powers and they send her to the royal court so she can train and become a part of the magical elite, which are Grishas, and things play out from there basically. I won't prioritize this book, I will focus on these main books that I have, these ones, and also Such a Fun Age. But if I do manage to finish these ones, I will start reading Shadow and Bone. Quite a lot of reading to do. We have a 500 plus pages book. This is about 600 pages, although it's not like 600 pages of actual words, but still it's quite a thick book. This is about 300 pages. Such a Fun Age is about 300 pages. Shadow and Bone I think is maybe 400, I have no idea honestly, I'm just guessing. So quite a lot of reading to do, but I'm also super excited because these two I've been wanting to get to for a while. So yes, finally I'm doing it. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited. Yes. I think that's about that for me actually. Another thing I've been doing is that I'm actually already planning what readathons I will participate in August. I will be a part of the Disney-a-thon, Disney Readathon, and also the Tropical-a-thon. For the Disney-a-thon I will be in Team Hercules, and for the Tropical-a-thon I will be in the Romance team. I'll share some information, links to like YouTube videos or Twitter down below if you want to check it out. And that's about that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye! Blah blah blah.